So that code that you have is about your duties, your conduct, is everything, and that is what leads to self-preservation. So
self-love is self-preservation.
Absolutely.
And black love equals self-love.
Self-love.
The skills that she can do, and it's appreciating that actually I'm out of my depth here over to you, and vice versa. So we were doing events, and fast forward to 2007, and it's Ghana's 50th independence, and we decided that we were going to do this massive Ghanaian dinner and dance, and so we're working on this. So we're still working full-time during the day, Nana as a teacher, me still working in the city, and one evening, so we'd come home in the evening and we'd be working on the event, sorting out all of the stuff for the event. And so it's probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, eyes bleary, you've got to get up the next day, and Nana was on the computer and we're having a conversation, and I asked her something and she didn't respond, and I've turned around and I've looked and she's sitting at the computer. sorry. Sitting at the computer and she's crying. And I'm like, oh, Lord, why is she crying? Why is she crying? I was like, what's wrong? What's the matter? And she was just like, I just don't want to go into work tomorrow. Like, I don't enjoy it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. And so I stood there and I said, then don't go. Like, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. And so went to bed. Next day, she didn't go in. I think I even called in sick for her. And then, crying again. And then she kind of took the lead on the event, and we did the event. And then after that, that was the genesis of Nana starting her business. And so after the event, she was like, actually, I really want to start my fashion label. And she started her fashion label. And again, I'm happy when I see that she's like, you're doing what you want to do, you're happy. So that's where my joy comes from in the relationship. And so she started that business. And that business then went on to be the thing that actually has sustained our family for like the last 7 years. So as I said at the top, for us, very early on, it was the realization that actually you can be yourself in this space, because I want you to bring the best of you and vice versa. And in order to do that, you need to feel as free as possible. There's a saying that my sister-in-law, Aquia, at the back, says a lot. Hey, Aquia. And she says, it's an Ashanti saying that if you fear divorce, you'll never have a happy marriage. And so, again, that kind of underpins our relationship. So actually, your happiness, what you want to do, comes first, because what's the point of me bringing all of my brokenness and isms into the relationship? I'm not bringing my best self. So I want to bring my best self into this relationship. And in order to do that and vice versa, we just realized that we actually had to just be honest and feel safe with the other person to do that. And fearless, yeah. Say something.
That was it.
So yeah. I don't know if anyone has questions, or I don't know.
Yeah, I want to hear from Nana.
Yes.
But I will talk more.
I know Nana's got lots to say.
Yeah.
Okay, we're warming up. Okay, because we've only got 10 minutes for your spotlight. I know that you've been reading the love languages. Would you say that this has helped you in your... firstly, do you remember what they are, the love languages, if you can share with the audience? Put you in the spot.
Personal, like what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was acts of service. Acts of service, gifts.
Quality time.
Quality time.
Receiving gifts. Yeah, receiving gifts.
Yeah, yeah. In you know, like it goes down in the list when you do
The top one was acts of service.
Yeah, that was my top. What was your top?
Physical touch. What can I say? What can I say? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go on.
I can see you're just. So yeah, we recently started reading Love Languages, and I have to say, it didn't really bring any big, massive revelations to our relationship. More so, it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. So it's nice to kind of remember. Yeah, you're right. Reaffirm, like, okay, that's it. So even Nana's one being acts of service, we're actually on a daily basis. That's what I do. That's what I do. You need me to do this, you need me to go there, you need me to do this, and I'll do it. And so kind of seeing it in the book and being like, oh yeah, this is a way that you show love, then you remind yourself, because you can get caught up in the mundane, like it seems quite mundane doing all of these things, but actually it means quite a lot to the other person. So it's a nice reminder that, so I may be thinking, oh, you know what, haven't done date night in how long or what not have you, but actually you're showing love in more practical ways and ways that your partner actually really appreciates. So, yeah. But we do need more quality time.
Okay, all right, well, we're going to open it up to the rest of the panel. Now, is everybody here actually familiar? Let me stand up a minute because I can't see everybody. Is everybody here familiar with the love languages, the 5 love languages? Yes? No? I want to have some audience interaction. Who knows here so we can share with people? Tendai? Yes, do you want to share with us? Introduce yourself. The 5 love languages. I'm going to start picking on people now. I think it's important for us to understand. Yes, she's always ready.
Hey, so yeah, that's a really, really good book. I always forget mine until someone mentions it. So with the 5 love languages, you've got quality time. So some of us just really appreciate when someone says, I'm going to make time for you. We've got most men are the physical touch. So most men and other people as well prefer that. Some women as well, yeah. And usually people have got 2 top love languages. So 2 will be like 33% and then the rest will be a different percentage. What else have you got? Quality time, touch, acts of service, words of affirmation. So some people like to be told, yeah, you done good. That was great. So some people really, really appreciate that. So it's quite intricate that we know this about each other, because you could be constantly showering someone with gifts, but for them, that don't mean nothing. As far as they're concerned, they experienced that when they was a child, and that to them, that doesn't mean someone loves them. It means they're getting fobbed off, for instance. So yeah, that's my example.
And what's yours?
Mine is quality time. Yeah, give me that time, y'all.
Thank you, Tendai. Tendai is an amazing, amazing DJ, by the way. So thank you, Tendai. I'm going to open up to the floor now. I don't know who wants to go first in terms of your communication, because I know that you guys are relatively new compared to the 19 years. Do you want to share some of your communication between the 2 of you in your business?
Okay, so yeah, we are a relatively new couple of 5 years, but that 5 years seems like so much longer than 5 years. Just to go back a bit, before I get into love languages, and I want to touch on communication as well. We met, both of us, I think, was a similar journey in our life. So we met 5 years ago. What was the date?
31st of October. Halloween.
Halloween. So we met on Halloween. And what had happened was I was filming an event, wasn't feeling too great, just came out of a relationship, and it was one of many relationships, and was feeling low and just, feeling like life is just messed up. You know how you feel certain times. And I was on the train, and something in my head just said, stay on the... What I was doing, I was playing a little silly game. I was trying to... You know when you're on the platform, I don't know if anyone does this, and you're trying to be where the doors stop. So I was trying to do that, yeah, and something said, keep still, right here. Just a voice just said, stay right there, because there's something on this train for you. So the train pulled up, and I walked on, and bam, there she was. And I swear to you, I was just, my mouth was open, right? I was practically dribbling. It was something that I'm very cool normally, but just something about her just had me like, and she was looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, but you're beautiful. Anyway, just to go along a bit further, you know, instantly we was communicating. So it wasn't just, hello, how are you? I did the initial, you know, greetings. Hi, I'm Daniel, like you, you're beautiful, whatever. And instantly I was like, what's that cross around your neck? And she was like, oh, it doesn't mean nothing. And she's like, what's that tattoo on your face? And I was like, well, I've not killed no one, so you know what I mean? But instantly we was communicating and trying to figure each other out. Anyway, going a bit further, I gave her my number and hoped she would call, and eventually she called the following Thursday. And and I was like, yes. And we spoke on the phone like all night until the morning, right? And we met up and we sat down, and we didn't do the whole dating thing, going out and stuff like that. We sat down on a table and we asked each other questions. So we was like, how many children do you want? Like, how are you gonna raise these children? What religion are you? We was asking so many questions because at that point in our life, we were fed up with all the normal stuff. So we had to get in there quick. So when I say 5 years seems like maybe 10, we did speed dating, like we were on this thing. So we've been communicating so heavy, and unlike Nana and Nee, we've only just got to that place where we have that safe space. Like what, last week? Like last week, we just got there. We've been communicating, don't get me wrong, we've been communicating, but it's been, we've been learning on the job. So in the beginning, you know, it was hard, it was tough, and we've got 8 children between us as well. So having a blended family, and she didn't give birth to 8. No. We came together, and so, you know, there's other women involved. So it was hard to come together with all of that baggage that we were both bringing, and being a young couple, relatively young couple, you know, the world has an expectation. You know, like, we don't see any role models out there for us. So we had to figure it out from the mistakes that our mothers had made, that we see around us, and we're just like, well, we don't want to be that, and we don't want to be this, and we don't want to be that. So communicating for us was like, sorry, lost my train of thought. So communicating for us was, you know, learning on the job and trial and error. And for me as a man, being raised by just a woman, understanding that I had to suppress my ego because she's going to tell me things I don't want to hear. And where I'm coming from, I was the man of my house. So you ain't going to tell me what I don't want to hear. You're going to tell me what I want to hear. And it took a long time to get to that place where it was like, all right, just chill. And it's still hard. Just listen to what she has to say and, you know, overcoming that. And because I also want to touch on, you know, healing. For me, communication and black love is about healing. It's about, a lot of us are coming from places of trauma, of, you know, single parents or abuse of whatever kind, of just different levels. We're just even back to slavery. Do you know what I mean? Generationally, even if you haven't personally, you know, experienced it, it's something that affects you. And we realized this, and while we were communicating, was like, this is coming from somewhere else. This is not even how we want to communicate. Do you know what I mean? It's not how we want to. Yeah, it's programming and learned behavior. So we didn't want to communicate like this. So we had to analyze all of these things to be able to communicate effectively. So for us, like I said last week, we've got to a place where it's like, right, this is a safe space. And for me, it ain't even safe, because it ain't even safe yet. It's not fully safe yet, because we're still dealing with, you know, healing. And a lot of our years has been healing ourselves and learning to love ourselves before we can love each other. Because, you know, we said in the beginning, I love you. But we realized it wasn't real love back then. It wasn't, because we didn't love ourselves. So when we got to that space of loving ourselves, only now, maybe the 5th year on, we're realizing that actually, no, this is what love is. Love is communication. Love is understanding. Love is healing. Love is all of the above. So yes, communication is everything. It is everything. And before you cut me, she always says to me, like, what do you say about the throat chakra? Like, exercise your throat chakra. And I was like, oh, I don't want to talk. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. She's like, is there something wrong? And I'll be like, no, I'm fine. And she hates that. What do you mean you're fine? There's something. Talk to me. And I'm just like, you can relate, brother. And I'm just like, I don't have nothing to say. And she'll be on me until she finds something. And for me, I'm just like, if you keep looking, you're definitely going to find something. But then I realized that actually, no, there's something there, and she can sense it. She has an intuition that is crazy. So she can sense when something is wrong. So, yeah. When you say something is there, yeah. Is something really there? Do you know what? I'm in the middle with you, right? I agree with you and I don't, because it's like there's nothing there on the surface. Like, I'm fine. Like, I really am fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. But she knows there's something deep down that I don't even know yet. I don't know it yet. But as a woman, I don't know, they got this spider senses about them that they just... Yeah. Well, to back her up, everything she finds has been an issue. I know. No, everything we get to has been an issue and needs to deal with. And we're believers of what happens, it happens for a reason. So if we spoke about it, we was meant to speak about it. So even if I wasn't feeling it right then, and we found it and we dug it out, then it was meant to be. And it always, at the end, you know, is progress. We always feel better for it. So, yeah, I don't want to go too deep, but...
Yeah, I do. I really want to thank my brother for his refreshing honesty. Because this is something, and as I say you're a master at creating problems when I come in. Because I might come in from my phone is a public domain. My shop is a public domain. Like, if you've seen me, you could just come in and I might have 50 conversations in a day. Yeah. And I get in and the one little thing, I just want 2 minutes, take off my shoes, wash my hands. I might freshen my face and put on my robe. And the minute I get in his work, is something wrong? And I say, no, babe, I'm good. Yeah. And then the second one, is something, I say, I'm starting to feel harassed. By the third one, is the food ready? I don't mind cooking. I don't care what I have to do. And I think it's universal. And you see, as we come together as a family, we just discuss honestly. And these are universal things, but we don't speak about them. Because when we talk about this thing, we don't have trust as a people. It's not about trust. And I keep saying this, it's such a catch-all term. And even between couples, it's who you can rely on and for what. And share as you can rely. And this lady here, as much as she kills me, because she will push and push and push. And had I been in my single parent raised state where we take our mother's emotional reaction mixed with testosterone, that's a very dangerous combination where I used to thump up walls because I couldn't thump anybody else because I probably would have dead in my sleep. But they force us to become better men. And there's a reason, as I look around some of my brothers, and it's nothing to take away from any man, as they run away from black women. You may see one mother or two mothers of children, and then they say, let go this thing, because it's too hard. But our women challenge us. Why do they challenge us? Because you are us. You know us. You know what we're capable of. You know what's hidden, and you reveal it. And you push us, and you push us, and you push us. And you see, as man, we love a hiding space. There's things we don't want to speak on. There are things we don't want or desire to deal with. And I say this speaking honestly, as a man who for maybe the first 30 odd years of my life ran as a lone wolf. I would run through women's bodies. I'm being quite honest. As a teenager, I was the article teenager. My 20s weren't much better. I was a scumbag. And I would think that the business is it. The business is it. But the business is nothing. It's a tiny part. The money that you make is irrelevant. What we waste it on is of even less importance. The honest communication that you have with people, and there's always somewhere to hide. But you cannot hide from the woman in your house. And when she pushes, and she pushes, as I said, this woman look upon me, because I understand what they do. And even as my brother says, they push us to become a better version of ourselves. And that thing, it only matters how much we want it. Because we have aspirations and ambitions that are genuinely easy to achieve if you follow the greatest university on earth, YouTube. This is all the stuff that's outside. But then there's a whole heap of stuff that we don't deal with as men. That definitely I hadn't dealt with. I grew up in a house with my grandmother, my mother, and my auntie. After my parents' divorce, and I moved to Kennington in my grandparents' house. My grandfather died 1 year after we had moved back into my grandparents' house. So I felt like the man of the yard. Why? Because I took out rubbish, and I wouldn't allow a woman to carry our bag. That's basic. But in terms of communication, I hid from it. I would never deal with it. I would rather if you saw me and my younger brother, who the only man who know me 100%, both of our doors, our bedroom doors, were on hinges. I'm being straight with you. And these paper mache doors of council flats were riddled with holes. They weren't just off the hinges, they were riddled with holes. Because how me and my younger brother dealt with our frustration was to thump up the door and thump up the wall until those things came off the hinge. You couldn't hear my mother. You couldn't hear any women. We're now going to beat up each other. So we tore our doors by punching them, not kicking, punching them off the hinges. That's how we dealt with it. And then these same young men go out into the world and join other young men of a similar ilk. But at least we had a time like the early 90s where consciousness, so-called, was high. Now they have nothing. So when I cast my mind back, and I don't think on it frequently, even down to my first flat, there were punch marks in the walls. From my early 20s, I moved out at 18. And I used to thump up the wall when I was frustrated. I remember my first girlfriend, like, ah! She thought she was fit for a beating. I said, that's what I do. When I let it go, I don't communicate. That's me communicating my frustration, thumping up the wall. So I say it only that we acknowledge it, that we learn to deal with even our sons' frustrations. Please.
Yes, actually, Valerie, you can join us up here. This is Dr. Valerie Bernard-Allen, a sociologist. Please. And I've invited her to... No, go ahead. He's been a gentleman.
Yeah, I just want to make a contribution to this discussion as a sort of to give some sociological insight into it. And also as a married woman to a black man and blah, blah, blah. I think that sort of like somebody mentioned slavery previously, and there are memories that we carry over because of slavery or sort of post-colonial situation. So, you know, like people from the African continent or those of us who are Caribbean, you know, there's a brokenness from those experiences that we bring into our relationships. And I've been listening keenly and I'm hearing that brokenness manifesting itself. And one of the things that happened, let me just refer to slavery. One of the things that the black woman had to do in the enslaved situation was to police the men in her that she was connected to, her sons and her partner and or husband. She had to police them because the men are risk takers and men would want to rebel. And there's lots of, you know, stories of sort of like rebellion. I mean, my father comes, he's part Maroon. So, you know, those of you who are Maroon, how they sort of like fought back, and the women were involved as well. But one of the things that women found that they had to do in order to keep the children together and a semblance of some kind of family was to police their men. And that memory has been passed down, because if you police your man, he's less likely to be lynched or taken from you and taken to another plantation. So the man's natural way was to rebel against the white slave master, and women found that they policed their men in order to keep a semblance of family, and we continue to do that, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing that we do because what we do is we silence men's natural sort of warrior, protective potential. And we do that with our sons, and make sure, you know, like you're going to school, make sure you don't challenge the teacher, don't do this. So we keep doing that, and we do that to our husbands. Now, one of the consequences of that is that the man will be frustrated and he will manage it, and he might punch the wall occasionally. But that can reduce the man to a childlike status. And when a woman polices and the man becomes a child and the man grows, you know, some of the things that you're talking about, so, you know, you're saying that the woman knows us and she's helping us to be a better man. But when you grow up, or when men grow up in a relationship, and they've become a man with the woman that they're married to or committed to, they then want to leave to go and be a man with somebody else. So this is something that we have to be very careful of. After a period of time, there is a desire to you want to be man because you're made now, you're a man, and you want to, you know, the Bible talks about a man leaving and cleaving to his wife. You want to go and cleave to a wife, and that wife is not the one that has been policing you. So we have to guard against some of the things that, you know, they work for a while, but, you know, and as an older woman as well, I want to sort of encourage some of the younger people to just, when you play that relationship out, despite how positive it is, and yes, he's got that job, and yes, we've maintained this, and yes, you know, what is that doing to his sense of masculinity, his sense of power and authority? So that is that, you know, women want love and men need respect. We talk about love languages, but we have to be very careful that we don't buy into narratives that don't reflect our culture and where we're coming from and the brokenness, because things will just bust out, you know, like 20 years down the road, and you're wondering what happened. So I just want to put that on the table. Some of the work that I do is around the strong black woman, you know, and its function in the black community and why it's there, and the problems around the strong black woman. Because, you know, we sort of say, yeah, I'm a strong black woman, I keep my man in check, but it's really problematic, and we need to interrogate that and problematize that and let it go, because that's part of the healing. That's part of the healing. So I just felt I needed to say something. I was sort of burning up.
We're going to start this. Yeah, no.
Okay. So greetings, everyone. So I'm going to just speak for myself because Mark's teaching at the moment. So I've been married to Mark for about 11, 12 years now, but we've been together about 15 years. So with me and listening to what the different panel members have been saying, I've had to learn to communicate, because I'm a typical person. If you vex me, I'll hold it inside and I'll go quiet and I'll brew and I won't say nothing. And then something will happen and I go, blah! So I've had to learn to communicate, whereas Mark is completely different. If I get on his nerves or something upset him, he would just say it. And I have to own it, and I'm like, maybe vexed, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad he said it. So I've had to learn that. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, as long as me and Mark has been in a relationship,
and dealing with all the things that we've dealt through throughout the years, it's all about learning every day. You're constantly learning about your partner every day. And when we go into the business part, I'll talk more about my journey in terms of our relationship and how we've managed to survive and thrive and keep going and laugh and joke and cry and all the emotions that come with a relationship. I'll talk about that as well.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to open up to some questions now. So if you have any questions, please put your hand up. Please introduce yourself as well.
Hello, my name is Sonnet. My background is social work and teaching, but I don't think that is quite relevant at this moment because my heart is here as a Black woman who wants to understand the dynamics of the relationship, male-female relationship. There's a burden that's always given to Black women. Black women and Black men went through slavery. So the impact wasn't one-sided. Obviously, if the Black woman become more masculine or whatever, something happened to the Black man also. So therefore, the impact and the dynamics is just not one-sided. And I feel overburdened as a Black woman. Black woman did this, I think the impact of our experience is two-sided. And yes, something is coming from the experience and the side of the Black woman, but there is some impact coming from the side of the Black man. So that interaction, so healing needs to, it's a two-way stream for healing, and I would like to hear a balanced conversation. Everything in nature is balanced. A one-sided conversation and one-sided healing. It feels like blaming. And if a man leave this place and feel like, oh yes, the doctor confirmed that you are this, that, that's an attitude. We need to reach the place of vulnerability where we are crying for each other. It wasn't just Black women who were broken from slavery. If we're emasculated, then our men were yes. So something happened to our men also. So therefore, when we are trying to say, come on, let's do it, something happened to them also, and it was us who did it to them. So the conversation needs to be balanced, and we need to be humble and vulnerable and cry for each other and heal together.
Thank you. We will be coming to the emasculation of our Black men in the second half, but firstly, let's hear from another brother. One more question. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we've mentioned the impact of slavery because that can't be discounted. But I would also say that our problems have been compounded because we've now adopted the flawed and failing model that the Western man has imposed on us. And then if it's not that, then we're making it up as we go along. Now, slavery was such a massive trauma for us, which it was, then what was before slavery? How did we maintain family? How did we build relationships? Surely, if the memory of slavery is with us and impacting, then we also have another powerful memory, which was pre-slavery, and which we have to go back and get and stop making it up as we go along.
Okay, I've got to let Akoya speak. I'm coming over there in a second because she's working so hard on the door for us, our sister.
Thank you. I just wanted to answer what the last young man said, which I think is really important and is very, very true. Because if we look historically at how we were before slavery, actually we did not have the Western paradigms of men and women and our positions in society. And I think sometimes there's, we get it wrong. And we actually go back to the white 1950s view of the woman at home and the man being in charge of the family. And we never lived like that. We never lived like that. Even though the man may have 2 wives, it didn't translate the way sexism works in this society. We never lived like that. We were queens, women could be warriors, men could be at home with the children. We worked in a way where we played to our strengths as an individual, and we can see it historically. We didn't just have one woman warrior queen. There's loads all over the continent that tells us that it was normal for women to have power. We know in Asante saying that, you know, a decision cannot be made until the old woman has spoken. So that gives us a clue to how we lived. And I think in a way, black men, I think it's now time for black men to take their power as humans, not as male, because when we use the word male, we're still thinking in a Western concept. But take their power as human beings who have something slightly different to offer the other sex that they live with. And we need to leave the people, the white people, to have their definitions of male and female. And we need to use our definitions, and our definitions is the strong black woman. Let's not fight it. We are strong because we've had to be strong because we are strong. And our men are strong as well. And when society tries to emasculate them by trying to move them towards the feminine, what we've got to say to our men is, being feminine does not make you not male. It's a different, you know, they play with language to find ways where we hate each other. So I'm going to stop now because this is one of my bugbears. So basically, we are beautiful, we are strong. Let's just keep loving each other and let's keep taking medicine to heal.
Thank you. The only reason why I stopped at queer is because we're going to be talking about that in the second half. So we can probably hear from her again. And then we have another person over here, brother. I'll pass that to you.
Greetings, my Cushite, Kemite, Nubian, Alkebulanite family. I was talking to the mirror over there this evening as I came in. And I'm going to use two words this evening. The first one is reference, and the other one is rites of passage. I came to live in the UK in 1991. I've been married to my wife now for the past 26 years. We've had our challenges, extreme challenges, I must admit. But let me just share this story. And where's my sister? The memory. In 1990, my son was 5 years old, so that was 1998. No. Akosia was maybe about 1998. I went to see my mommy in America. And by then, my persona was being changed. I sat down with my mommy and I said, Mommy, look, my name is now Kojo, right? And I could see that transfixed look on me. And when I told her what the journey had been, she looked at me in 1998, not 1608 or 1708, but in 1998, she looked at me straight in the eyes and she said, "Do son, careful, mind them kill you." And I was thrown back. I said, but physically, my mommy wasn't in the brutality and the barbarity of chattel enslavement. But here was she telling me in 1998, the very same thing that her sixth grandmother would have said to the strong man. Careful. And I said to her, Mommy, look, let me tell you something. I said, if my death means that you and my papa will no longer be casualty of our relationship dynamics. If our daughters will be embracing our sons and our sons embracing their daughters, then my death is going to be worth it. And I could see when she released me. My mom had passed about 8 months after. And up to the time, though she gave me this name, which means that I was sickly and not a man, she never did call me the name she imposed on me, but she called me the name that the ancestors had inspired or had caused her then to give to me. Now, I'm going to say this, that I am military trained, and reference is vital. Without the reference, you will forever keep going in circles and not in the direction of destiny, self-determination, sovereignty, nationhood. I have a problem living in England because me ain't nobody's BME. I mean, nobody's BAME. I am in no minority. I'm a majority. I'm a global majority. Right? I have a problem because me no call people white because me am no fool. Right? And if I'm referring to my family, I call my family the Cushite family. Right? I get a whole lot of stick because where I live, them reckon that I'm a madman. Yeah? But I am the son of Cush. I went to Kemet twice, and I have never been the same. Simply because the scale was removed, and I was now enabled and given the capacity to see what we as a people are able to do. Right? So me no take no rubbish from no working class Englishman or woman, right? We just learn to read and write 1850. Yeah? So what I'm saying is we need to get back to our reference. And I love Roots, and especially the 4th chapter in Roots, when the boys went to the bush. And if you weren't a man, you never come back. Right? But who was it? My sister, who was it, the 4th chapter in Roots, who was it that was rather hesitant for the boys to go? It was the mothers. Right? And this is why the essence and the element of the elders and the communal village, it was, I mean, I love the idea, and sorry, you know, I have to talk this time. I love the idea that the emotional attachment that our mothers have to us have to take second place to the effective demonstration of our manhood as it relates to being able to provide for ourselves, our communities, our families, and our space. And that's why I love the 4th chapter in Roots, when they went to the woods. And when they came back, it was a man who came back. I remember when the boy said to his mother, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm a man now." And his grandmother tell him, say, "Well, I dust you out." Yeah? So we must value and embrace the effectiveness of the roles as they are, but in the context of our own reality. Yeah? I struggle with a whole lot of things living in the UK because it's just not natural to me. Right? So one of the things that I am now investigating is the whole issue. And my wife my wife don't love when me highlight these things. One of the things I'm investigating is the legal declaration of 1661 and the impact it's having on us now in terms of, one, our relationships, our humanity. How many of us know about the legal enactment of 1661? Let me see the hands. Okay. And those policies are the framework to which we live our relationships, we live our expectations, we live our... So basically, what we've lost as part of this is our international legal personality. And in that context is our humanity.
I just wanted to make a point to what you said on rites of passage, because for me, even bearing witness 2 weeks ago to 2 of them, Manhood Academy West in the same day, I went in the afternoon, and then Origin in the evening. Now, Origin sticks to the traditional African rites of passage for young men. And I'm a firm believer, it's not belief because belief is subjective. I know that rites of passage should be universal for our young men and our young women, irrespective of the household that you come from, because it gives you a high identity awareness and confidence, and it gives you a cultural context within the world. And the ceremony that they had in Origin that lasted, now keep in mind, I had been with this lady who forced me to go to an event to show my face. I didn't sleep. So I went to an event that finished at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. I went and opened my shop. I didn't know I was going to Manhood Academy West. I saw my face on a flyer on Instagram. So I phoned him. And I went and spoke to the young men who graduated in the afternoon. I ran back to my shop. I closed my shop. Brother Pablo, who is local to here, and the BCA, had phoned me and made an appointment for me to come down. Now, I was tired out of my mind and my eyes were bleeding. But I got energy spiritually from my people in that ceremony. Now, the young men had white T-shirts as they went through the whole ceremony. And then as they've finished and graduated, they took off their white tops and they put on the black Origin T-shirts. And I could see the one little chubby boy, I don't want to take off his top. And you know what? He was amongst family. And there was a stage where he was comfortable and everybody took off their tops and put on the black tops. And then it's something so beautiful that the young men stood in the middle and Brother Pablo called the community. He said, can the parents come forward and we're going to form the onion ring around them. And the young men were in the middle who graduated. And then the parents came around. And then he said, can any other family come around and form the third onion ring? And then can the friends of the family come around and form the fourth onion ring? And then can the brothers and sisters in the community who support us come and form the fifth onion ring? And by the time you look, there's a picture that I posted on Facebook. And it looks, is so powerful. And I look on it, all I could hear is the REM song, That's Me in the Corner. Because I can just see this little man in a Navy rain mac in the corner. Because there's so many people. And he said, for all of them, I sit down. I don't know why you're here. Because this is a village. And what those 5 onion rings told me immediately as an effective communication, and it's not the first time I've gone to that. The first time I witnessed that was in 2003 when I was introduced to them, is that every single role within the village is important. And there was so much love in that room that people just recognized themselves as natural Africans. I just wanted to endorse what Father here said, in that rites of passage for us is our cultural norm. And I can see from people sucking in their yarn, I'm boring some people, so we're going to move forward quickly. But irrespective of whether you are 2.5 child family, mother and father, making it, or is breaks like my house. I had a key from 9 years old and could cook for my brother and sister. I'm the traditional latchkey kid and moved out the minute I could at 18 when I found myself solvent enough to do it and pay private rent. Rites of passage would have saved me so much time to have given me mentors and a roadmap to avoid petty criminality and the nonsense that we celebrate in an alternative culture, not knowing what our actual culture is, because we aren't confident enough to demonstrate it outwardly like everybody else. Like a bar mitzvah, if you turn 13, everybody comes around and you're initiated into your community, but we don't. And that is a lack of our cultural confidence and identity, self-esteem as adults within our own community. Sorry, there's one brother got a question, might be pertinent.
Sorry, I'm going to have to cut it because otherwise we'll just keep going on and on and on. And I know it's interesting and we will be having some more topics that you can, so if you can hold it for me 1 second. I did have somebody over here, one of our, did you want to say something, sis? You had your hand up earlier, I know, for a long time. You said, yeah? Okay, Paul wants to say something very quick. 1 minute, Paul.
Oh, just 1 minute. Yeah, because you're on later. Oh, okay. Good afternoon, or good evening. Amazing to see a room full. You know I'm not going to take 1 minute, I'm going to take slightly longer. Because I just want to touch on this whole rites of passage thing, and I feel I need to stand up actually, because I can see you all better, and you look so beautiful. For me, rites of passage, and I did attend one almost 20 years ago, because I failed to understand why I grew up in an environment of domestic violence. And it was determining the relationships I was having, and I thought that was my future. So I went deeper than looking into where I need to go in terms of rites of passage. And I actually did a rites of passage session, which took me about 6 or 7 hours to understand where my father was coming from. And for me, that's where my whole value of a relationship changed. And that's when I stopped becoming a potential abuser, because you remember, frustration leads to abuse. And I was able to understand that. And I'll tell you a quick synopsis of my father's life, because it took me from being a boy to a man almost instantly. Now, my father came to this country in the Windrush, and he had left Jamaica being the proud owner of a shoe factory. And he bought into the lie that when you come here, the streets are paved with gold. And he came here, and for the next 32 years, he worked on London transport. But what happened in between all of that was children. Finance problems. The fact that you wasn't able to do your craft. You were lied to. Do you understand what I'm saying? There was no way. You were walking into places saying, I'm a shoemaker. They're saying, get on the bus. So I could now understand why he would come home. And one of my earliest memories was waking up and seeing my mother standing over my bed with blood gushing down her face. And so for me, learning to understand and forgive him on his journey, because remember, what we do as young men is we tend to mirror what's around us. And it's until we actually look into that and work out, well, what was my dad going through? What was he projecting on me? And why was he projecting that on me? I was able to understand that his frustration could have so easily made me an abuser. So 20 odd years ago, I learned about my father's journey, which helped me with mine. That was just over 1 minute. Thank you.
So, because I could see your power was so pertinent, and I know you have an issue.
I appreciate you, King. I appreciate you, King. I just want to underline something that my brother and Dean have outlined, and this is especially for the men. The community is the priority here. A man is not supposed to release his masculinity by punching the door. Dean has gone past that now. What he does is a member of his community. He builds his community, and he's able to manifest his masculinity through the building of his community. And that gets him the respect that he looks for. That makes him the man that he wants to be in his community. So I want to underline it for the men around here, because I think what's so amazing about an event like this is that we're all coming together and we're all starting to look at each other and like, we've got something here, we can create something here. And I just want to, like I say, underline that, because my uncle over there is right in what we're saying, that we have lost our sovereignty, but we're getting it back slowly, slowly, and every single one of us has a role in that. So if our men are looking for that outlet for their masculinity, there's so much going on. There's so much going on in our community that we can look at and be able to create some real change in. And just a second point, I work in an organization called Black People Giving, and I'm on the street every single day reasoning with my people. And I was talking to this sister yesterday, and the sister was almost like, and it happens so often that you'll meet a sister and she wants to almost cry because she's just so disappointed with the way men are. And she basically came upon the point of something like, you know, we're just broken men, broken women, and we're just meeting each other from these broken situations. And what we said and what we kind of reasoned on was just this kind of thing that we as Black people, we haven't had no chance to reason through the way we feel. Do you know what I mean? Like they said, it comes down from ancestors, but it comes down from my mum that came from Africa, and everybody's mum who may have come from wherever they come. We've been working for how many years? We've been just looking at each other, just grinding. No opportunity to do exactly what we're doing here right now, which is why I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing here today, because it's amazing. Because, you know, because, you know, when you see it, you know, you can't be conscious of these things. What we're doing is we're making everybody conscious of these things so that when it comes in your home and you start fighting, you're like, oh, okay, well, that happened last week, and, you know, I know how to reason that. So like I said, I just want to big up you guys for what you're doing here. And yeah, man, let me just look at their community because it's there for you. Do you know what I mean? Build it up for real. And 20 years, 50 years from now, we've got something to look back on and really be proud of. So big up.
So we're going to take a 10-minute break. This lady's going to give me clarity on the break because I'm under orders.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. We are going to take a quick break. However, just before, I wanted to introduce some lovely people over here very quickly. And this is a new app. Are there any singles in the house? Any single people? Yeah? Well, yeah, don't be shy. Yeah, okay. So these are the founders of Straight Black Love. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and introduce the concept. It's an app, a dating app. And over to you.
Hi, thanks, Ayla. I just want to say, before I introduce myself, thank you guys for putting on this lovely event. Could everybody give them a round of applause again, please? And what really resonates with me is a Buju Banton song called Hills and Valleys. I don't know if anyone knows that song. There's a verse or a bar in it that says, through that mystical communication within, we keep on coming together. And that really resonates looking around and seeing everybody here, because I love these events. We come together, and through all the damage and through all the things that we go through, we constantly want to be with one another and around one another, no matter how, broken apart we become. And that leads me to straightblacklove.com, which is a website I created. Myself and my fiance, we met online. I'm not going to say the app we met on, but it's fair to say that we found love in a in a strange place. And at the time, I created the thing I wish existed, because I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a conscious man, a thinking man, a reading, an educated man. And and I came across Jermaine. My name's Ariel Phoenix. This is Jermaine. And so I created what I wished existed at the time. It's a concept that was always in the back of my mind. And so I created a few other businesses to kind of bootstrap that, to get the funds to create that. And it's an app for Black singles that are serious about finding commitment, finding a committed relationship. So finding your complement. There's a lot of hookup apps out there. There's a lot of Black dating apps that aren't Black owned. So this is obviously Black owned, and our focus is rebuilding the Black family. So we really need to focus on rebuilding the Black family. This business is really close to my heart. We have two little ones. We've got a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old baby girl. And our family is everything to us. It's the foundation of everything we do, how we conduct ourselves in our relationship. And Straight Black Love is really about people trying to come together and build something serious. So if you are single, I know online dating is a taboo subject in our community, and it's something like the millennials tend to do without even thinking, Facebook, Instagram DMs. But again, we've got all kinds of age ranges, and everybody's coming together knowing that they're looking for somebody serious. So try it out. We're updating. The update was supposed to be today in case you guys signed up, but we've got another update coming in the next few days. So it's really working on the algorithm to get you matched up properly. And I don't know if you want to say a word.
In all truth, it's all her idea. It's a very new app. It just came out when? It was last year, November. So it's pretty new. Yet she knows all the facts and figures.
Oh. Yeah. So we've mainly got sign-ups in America, the US, and Brazil, because obviously there's a lot more of us out there. So while marketing, it was very interesting to see how many Brazilians that are going through the same things that we are going through, with just the whole whitewashing of the culture and their history and the brutality and whatnot, and trying to get us to remain separated. So like the push for us to break apart is just so real. I don't know if you guys have been like watching things on Netflix and seeing how everything's interracial and just you don't see black families and whatnot. And I think we now have the power with social media to create our own narrative. So on our Instagram page, we showcase black relationships, black love, and also try and tackle some of the issues that we have between us. So black men and black women that really love each other and want the best for each other. So we try and tackle lots of those issues. But yeah,
What's key as well is that she's the one who goes through each profile. So everyone's black, everyone's straight. You've got, what, about 14 pages of blocked, 16 now.
Of blocked IP addresses from people from outside communities trying to join. It's incredible. There's 20 people per page and 16 pages of people that I've had to block because I moderate all the profiles. And it's incredible that we create these spaces and they just so badly want to be a part of it. While flattering, it's a shame because we've seen that throughout our history, all these movements, we always feel that we have to let other people in. And when you have people above you, they and that control the money, they are able to kind of sway you. But when you own your own stuff, they can't do that. So
What's worse too is that they come onto the Google app or App Store and yeah, saying, oh, because I'm not black, I can't join. 1 star, you know. If I put up a mean picture, I'll get rejected, bam. So it's authentic. So it's a picture of yourself. Oh yeah, now I've got the new.
What's what? Oh, yeah. So again, we're always working on ways to make it more secure, and also that, I don't know if you know about catfishing, people pretending they're somebody else. So we've just managed to get this built, the anti-catfishing kind of scheme where you have to verify your profile and whatnot. So if you're talking to someone and you're not sure that they're serious, just ask them to verify their profile. It takes 5 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And how you do it too, you got to have a certain picture of yourself and you're doing a certain pose. It could be like a peace sign or some kind of gesture. Anyway, that's it. That's it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Just wanted to introduce, we also have our brother Emmanuel here, and we also have my sister Vanika, but she's been a bit shy. She's from the Hidden Science of the Hidden Science Academy. So if it was anybody at the Hidden Science of Black Love on Saturday, yeah, this is the founder. So get your books from both of these stalls, and I just wanted to give the mic over to my lovely sister V. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Verona. I'm one half of what is titled Ancestral Voices, an organization set up with myself and my husband. Ancestral Voices is ultimately a range of learning resources that deals with African spiritual cosmologies and philosophies. And looking around the room today, it's been a wonderful conversation and definitely a conversation that needs to be had. Someone mentioned that we have trauma from slavery. That's definitely correct. But as we also know, that in order to receive love, you have to love yourself. And as far as I'm concerned, loving yourself means knowing yourself and taking time to learn about yourself. And collectively, as a people, we are quite clueless when it comes to who we are as African people. And that is ultimately how the Ancestral Voices range came about, as we went along our own spiritual journeys and wondered, why do we see our own spiritualities as witchcraft? Who told us it's devil worship? Who said it's evil? And if we internalize that as people, then guess what? We're going to see ourselves as negative people. So it's not surprising we're going to have conflict in our relationships because we haven't appeased that sense within our own selves. So the learning resources range includes 2 documentaries, a book, and now some online courses. And what we found in our own spiritual journeys is we were constantly bombarded with negativity, but we were clueless about the actual true philosophies behind these principles. And one of the main principles is to acknowledge your ancestors. Why? Because your ancestors are ultimately you. They exist in your very DNA. And as someone rightly mentioned earlier, we carry that genetic memory with us. So unless we learn to acknowledge that and deal with that, number one, by neglecting our ancestors, we're walking around without our spiritual protection, so to speak. We're left vulnerably open. We're going to war with no armor. And we have been systematically denigrated for years to feel inferior for who we are. So we ultimately suffer from a spiritual inferiority complex. I was 28 years old when I actually started asking these questions for myself. And we were so motivated, myself and my husband, that we literally used our own funds to travel to Ghana and to film, in fact, Egypt as well, and to film people in the UK as well as traditional practitioners in Ghana to research and gather this information. So not only we could educate ourselves, but for the wider community also. Leading on from that, we worked on 5 years on creating our second documentary, which is Ancestral Voices, Spirit is Eternal. We went to South Africa, Haiti, Brazil, and we spoke with people such as Credo Mutwa, Haisanusi Sangoma in South Africa, Professor James Small, some of you may know him from Hidden Colors, Professor Baina Bello from Haiti. And the whole reason for us doing this, and take note that about 75% of this was our own funds and the rest was crowdfunded. But we felt passionate because if we're serious about healing ourselves and loving ourselves, we can't do that if we don't know our own way of doing things. As someone mentioned earlier, we know how Europeans do things, but do we know how Africans do things? And so if we want to embrace ourselves and learn about who we are, then we need to start educating ourselves. And as we've mentioned before, rites of passage programs, all these things are things we can do and implement individually. And once we heal ourselves individually, then we can come together collectively. So anyone who is interested or whatever I said resonated with you today, please come check out our works. And if you have any questions, come over here. My name is Verona. Thank you very much for a wonderful event.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be taking a break now for 15 minutes. But whilst we're having the break, I'm just going to hand over to Mr. Tony Dada. And he's going to do a performance for us. Okay. Yeah?
Good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful event. Isn't it magical? I just want to big up the power couple. Because this is a subject that's been on my heart for at least a decade and a half. For those of you who might be interested, I've got a CD that I produced back in 2003. So imagine in our community, we were doing things like X Factor for our young people. Yeah, we was doing that because I set that up in 1992. And in 2003, we did an album featuring young people from up and down the country. And there's a track on here called Bring the Family Back. Anyone remember that? And I did that track with Roachford, Tipper Irie, Basil Mead from the London Gospel Community Choir. And it was a group of black men. And why did I want to do this? Because I wanted to change that narrative where I was a single parent. I raised 2 children as a single parent. And all I was hearing was that there were no good black men out there. So I want to put in something different, that there are black men out there. But it's about the mindset that we have. Because you see, if you do not think for yourself, then you're just going to adopt whatever the media puts out there. And we have to get to a place where in this beautiful space, in this spiritual time that we're moving into, where there's an opportunity for us to gather and grow in spiritual awareness, we have to first of all clean our minds. Literally, we have to go through a mind reset so that when my brother Dean is speaking, you hear what he's saying. There's a difference between speaking or talking and communication. And many of us are still in that mode where he's talking and you just hear. So if anyone's interested in picking up a CD, you can have it for free, because we just want to spread the love. We printed thousands of them and we just give them away because I believe that one day a day like this would happen, and that day has come. So thank you, brother and sisters, for doing that. And so we're just going to do one song just to get a little vibe of togetherness here, because I was at an event on Saturday and we did this song, and it just seemed like I'm a creative, so I know the power of music and how it can, what it can do. So, oh, right, maybe we're not going to do it. A cappella. Well, we'll just do 30 seconds of it. There you go. You know the song. Anyone familiar with the song? Omar? There's nothing like this. And for me, there is nothing like this. When we can come together in a space, like you're all smiling already, that's the power of love. That's the love that I'm talking about. If you know the words, then you can sing with me. It's a spirit of oneness that we're going to express right here and now. So who knows the words? Yeah, look, I see my sister swaying. This is what I'm talking about. This is what music can do. This is what the power of love can do. So, this love, this black love. Sip a glass of cold champagne wine. You're supposed to sing with me. The love that we lie on feels divine. And there's a no parallel, yeah. I see my brothers just going deep. For we to listen to the words. This is the kind of love that we need to find. See, ecstasy, the word of the night, ringing in our ears, we're in flight. And there's a no substitution. You feel me? I know you feel me. Go wild, we have no others can have. Sing, there's nothing like this kind of love. Don't you agree? One more time. Yeah, you feel me? 'Cause no one could ever have what we have. There's nothing like this. You want to sing with me? Yeah, I'm going to come over. The light, this conversation has its flow. Oral communication, don't you know? And I feel quite content. Yeah. I've been told to come over and bring some sisters in. Oh, right now. Your time. Take it away, sister.
I don't even remember the rest of the words. You have to sing with me. Just in it.
With me
and we'll make history.
And exclusively in love we
will be. No, I'm just making it up now. Substitution.
Oh, yeah.
And what we have, no others can have.
Round of applause. Your turn. I can't hear you. He's going to do something over this side. Here we go. See, no one could ever. Your turn. You want to?
Nothing like this. There's nothing like this.
You see what happens now? Now everybody wants to sing. But it changed it's created a nice energy and a nice vibe. And I want you, when you go home tonight, listen to the words of that song. It's talking about a mystical, spiritual, next level kind of love. And you know, if we can aspire for those kind of things, then we have the chance of being able to experience it. We should